Hi everybody, my name's Greg Lindsay. I'm a clinical veterinarian based out of Franklin Vet's Kopu Clinic. Just doing this video today to talk through some stuff ahead of mating. Last year, our scanning results across the Waikato and the country, in fact, were pretty poor, and it's probably been a little bit of a trend of late to see declining performance in our dairy farms and their reproductive performance specifically, both in 6 week in calf rate and not in calf rates. And unfortunately, last year of all seasons was the biggest single year drop in performance for probably the last 15 to 20 years. So quite a pronounced decline there. So I really want to put a bit of focus around mating this year. We know it's a trying season and a testing one out there, both the climate, the weather, and the payout and business situation. So really going to put some focus around making sure these cows get back in calf quickly and ensure those not in calf rates are kept as low as possible. So avoiding those essential culls, making sure our culling is done by choice, not by force of hand. One of the big trends that we've seen in the last, don't know, actually probably 10 to 12 years since inductions were phased out is that mating lengths have been shortened. So when I started as a vet, it was pretty commonplace for mating lengths, total mating lengths, to be 14 to 16 weeks. Pretty much the standard. So a very, very long time, looking at 4 or 5 cycles. So cows had 5 chances, 5 bites at the cherry effectively to get in calf. What that meant was that our not in calf rates were always low, very, was out of the ordinary to get something that wasn't single figures, a single figure empty rate, and empty rates of 4%, 5% were quite normal and became the expectation. What's happened since inductions were phased out was that to try and get on top of the lack of that tool was to bring our mating lengths shorter and shorter. And now across our practice, our average mating length sits somewhere in line with the average for the country, which is about 10 and a half weeks. And that range probably is between about 8 weeks at the lower end through to the longest being around 12 weeks. There's a few outliers, but the majority sit in there. And most are 10 and a half weeks, running a 10 and a half week mating. Now that's all good. It means we have a nice tight calving pattern. Things don't drag on too long. Most of you out there will be in the final throes of calving as we speak for spring calving herds. And it means cows have plenty of time to recover after calving and resume cycling and get back in calf at reasonable rates. So in that respect, it's a really good thing. What it has meant, though, is that we've seen a slight increase in the not in calf rates or empty rates experienced by herds. And that's, probably could expect that to happen because we know that a cow's conception rate sits at around 50%. Just grab these whiteboard markers. So a cow's conception rate to any given mating is around 50%. Ranges between that and 60%, but you can get conception rates as low as 40% in some herd. If we ignore all the detail and work on simple maths and say that for this situation it's just going to be 50%. So on any given day, if you put a cow up to be mated, she's got a 50% chance of holding to that insemination. Now it's not that high really when you think about it. So she's got a 1 in 2 chance of holding. You put 100 cows up to be mated on a given day, 50% of them will hold. The other 50 will cycle again in 21 to 24 days time. So it's a hard stat to work with and quite hard to work against as well when you're trying to get cows in calf total and also get them in calf quickly. So one thing we've seen, I guess, or one strategy we've tried to employ in recent years is to give cows maximum bites at the cherry. I use that analogy again, don't know why you bite a cherry, but anyway, that's what we're going with. Maximum chances of getting in calf. So when your conception rate is only 50%, the more matings you have, increase the chances of you being pregnant at the end of mating. And hopefully you can see this little schematic that I've Reb's drawn for me, but After one cycle, this is 0% inCalf, that's 100% or all of your cows inCalf. After one cycle, half of those cows are going to be inCalf, okay, that you've put up. And that's purely on maths. They're all cycling cows, all good, healthy, everything. Maximum really that you can only expect is 50% to be inCalf after that first cycle. You give them another 21-day period, so now we're up to a 6-week mating. You've moved that up to 75%. So half of the remaining cows are inCalf after the second cycle. So that's 50% plus 25%, 75%. So it's going pretty well. We give them another cycle, so another 3-week period. So you've extended your mating out to 9 weeks. All of these cycling cows now, you're up to a not inCalf rate of 12.5%. So again, the remaining cows, half of those cows get inCalf in that third cycle. So that's pretty much your average mating length, 3 cycles or 9 weeks, and we're down to a best case scenario of around 12.5% empty or not inCalf rate. So that's cool. And that sort of sits with our benchmarking around the clinics as where our average not inCalf rate or average empty rate sits at the end of scanning. We'd all like that to be lower though, to be fair. Everyone wants single figures, and the best way to achieve that, or one of the really good ways to achieve that, is to give them another bite at the cherry. So go to a 4-cycle mating situation. So when that happens, you go back to blue again, and you take out of this last little few cows remaining, you add another mating on top of that, and you're now down to a 6.2% empty rate. So easily single figures. So to get down to those single figures, in theory, our cows need 4 cracks at getting inCalf, so 4 mating opportunities. Anything less than that, and unfortunately they're really limited by their natural conception rate, which does vary, and some farms will have much higher conception rates, 60% plus, makes these numbers easier to hit. Some farms will have poorer conception rates, and that makes it even harder to get those not inCalf rates high. So yeah, take home from that picture there, or that graph there, I guess, is that the more matings an animal has, or a herd has an opportunity to have, the higher the chances she is going to be pregnant at the end of mating. And ideally, we get 4 cycles into all of our cows. So how can we do that when we're running a 9 to 10 week mating that really only includes 3-week blocks of mating? So unfortunately, what happens in reality is the cows that are first mated in the 2nd and 3rd weeks of mating, those that don't get inCalf in the first mating period or mating cycle go into weeks 5 and 6. Those that don't get inCalf there have another crack here. That's 3, 1, 2, 3 cracks at getting inCalf. So remembering we're down to 13% roughly. And then unfortunately they don't get another shot at it. So the best you can really hope for is about 13% empty with those animals that are mated in weeks 2 and 3 at the start of mating. Keep in mind, this is cows that are cycling and have all cycled in the first 3 weeks. There's plenty of animals that don't even cycle in the first 3 weeks. So their first mating is back here, and they might only get 2 chances at mating, which makes their performance even poorer. In the ideal situation with our 10-week mating here, we would try and get the maximum number of cows mated in the first 7 days of mating. What that does is give them 1 chance to get pregnant there, 2nd chance there, 3rd chance, and 4th chance. So if they're mated in the first week of mating and you're running a 10-week mating, which most people are, ensuring the highest number of cows is mated in the first week means that they'll get 4 chances at getting pregnant, and you'll end up with those single figure empty rates. So a little bit of a strategy that we've employed on some farms is using Y-weight to achieve this. So Y-weight is a tool that allows cows that cycle just before planned start of mating, so here, to short cycle, and they're inseminated or mated for the first time in week 1. Now these these cows perform really well. They're already cycling, we know that, so you're not fixing a non-cycling problem. You're just effectively buying days in milk and buying performance out of the animals. So they're short cycled just before mating to ensure that they are mated in week 1. That gives them at least 4 chances of getting pregnant, which means that overall not in calf rates in these herds are a lot better. So it's not just your 6-week in calf rate that's benefiting from these Y-weight programs, it's actually the total number that are in calf at the end of mating. It also highlights the importance of treating non-cyclers early. Non-cyclers naturally have a poorer conception rate than the rest of the herd because a lot of them are having their first heat, and we know that conception rate increases the more heats a cow has. So if we wait until week 3 to do our non-cyclers, not only is it financially much less viable, there's also a higher chance that that cow is going to fall off the end of mating without getting pregnant, because she's had less chances at cycling and conceiving within the mating period. So ideally, again, with the non-cyclers, the program is started pre-mating, ensuring that they are mated in week 1 and get maximum cracks throughout mating. So 4 cycles of 4 21-day cycles during that mating period. And to wrap that all together, on a couple of farms last year, this is just an interest piece, and every farm is different, so it's not going to be something that's suited to all farms necessarily. But there's been a few farms that we've run what is called a 10-day mating program, combining both of those strategies. So doing Y-weight across the whole herd, in line with a non-cycler program for cows that haven't done anything in the pre-mating period. And what that's meant is that all eligible cows, have effectively been mated within the first 10 days of mating, and those farms have only run a 10-day AB period. So 10 days of AB, and then the bulls go out. Because all the cows are mated within 10 days, and you consider this 50% conception rate, in theory, or not in theory because it's worked, half of the herd is pregnant after that 10-day period. So you've already hit 50% pregnant at the end of the AB period, and it's only 10 days long. And so then the bulls go out, mating's easy, the bulls handle the difficult heat detection cows for the next 7-8 weeks, however long your mating period is. And the results that we've had with those farms have been really exceptional, in terms of both 6-week in calf rate, but also not in calf rate, with the farms getting single-figure empty rates reliably. So it's a pretty cool thing. So really, I guess the take home of this talk is just to reinforce the fact that with mating, we're really limited by a cow's natural conception rate of 50%. It puts the brakes on in a big way. If we want to improve that conception rate, then you're getting into a bigger discussion really around feeding, cow condition score, disease rates, stress on the animals, all that sort of stuff. Just basically a cow's general health and well-being. And how early or late they calved as well. Obviously, an early calver has a much better conception rate at the start of mating because she's had time to recover. So yeah, take homes limited by that 50%, remembering that the more cycles a cow has in the mating period, or opportunity to have in the mating period, the better her final empty rate or not in calf rate is going to be. And that can be expanded out to a herd. So the more opportunities you give for your cows to cycle within that mating period, the better your not in calf rates are. And so in terms of tools that we can use to sort of manipulate that, it's really Y-weight. So bringing all your cycling cows into that first week to give them maximum cracks at mating, and then also remembering to do non-cyclers nice and early, again, so that their first insemination falls as early as possible in the mating period to ensure that they get 21 days, another chance, 21 days, another chance, 21 days, another chance. And you're really making the most of that 50% limiting factor. So hopefully that was useful. We'll try and do a few more of these video webinar type things. If you find them useful, happy to take questions via email probably, or via the Facebook page. But let us know if it was useful. Cheers. Have a good one.